Alright, welcome back to our garage. In this video, we're going to be getting the 79 Bronco project ready for paint. To start out with, we're going to be doing the windshield, removing it, and then we're going to follow that up by doing the doors and the trim off the sides. So we've already done some of the work, getting it ready. This thing is going to be painted inside and out. So the only thing really having to be done is taping off the dashboard. So you can see we've already got one door removed. So now let's do the windshield. Alright, so to get the window out, we just cut around the lip that lapped over this seam right here, and with a couple of razor blades, and it came out real quick. So next, for my painter, he wants tailgate, doors, and any of the little bits and pieces first, because he wants to do all of that in one shot in his paint booth. So we're going to take this door to him. To do that, we're going to take all the piece parts out of it, all the seals that are really broken, and pull the window and speaker and everything out of it, and then dismount it from the door. Alright, it's the next day. Just wanted to show you what we did to finish up last night. So the trim was actually pretty easy once we got the door off. Sitting over here, there's two studs, one on each end, and then just plastic clips in the middle. Once you loosen up the studs from the bolt holes in the ends, these come off real easy. So these in the lower racetrack stud, these little deals just twist in, go in through these holes, one on the outside on each end. Would have actually been pretty easy to take it off with it on the car or on the truck. As for the rest of it, the first thing that you really have to do that I figured out is take out the vent window. You basically have to lay it across in front, like across the hood, in order to twist it out. There's like a little slot right here that it's easiest to twist out the bracket that's at the very bottom of the window track. Once you get that out by unbolting these 3 screws across the top and then one mounting bolt right here, once you get that out, And with the window rolled all the way down, it's actually pretty easy to get that out. Then the window will slide over to the side and fall out of the little wheel track carrier thing. But you get that out of there, you can just set it in the bottom and then pop out the trim pieces with just a flat blade screwdriver. Pretty hard, actually really probably impossible to get those out without the window out of the way, because with the window sitting in here, you can't move the felt over enough to pop it out of these holes. So once we got the window felt out of the way, we could turn the window sideways so that the track was at the bottom, and it would actually slide up through this same little gap right here. It came out, and then the window felt around the top here was so old and solidified, we literally had to chip it out with tools. So now that we've got all that taken apart and cleaned up, you know, some of this glued on edge right here, I think this part's ready for paint. So this week we're going to be hauling tailgate doors and a few other little miscellaneous bits to get painted. Next thing that you'll see is us finishing, taking the rest of the trim off the body. The truck's going to go to the paint shop later. And we've also got to take the bumper off. The seat's already unbolted, so it's just about ready to go. So one thing I wanted to talk about real quick was these clips and some of the lessons we learned pulling those out in that last little video segment you saw. So there's a mixture of these bolt-on, these little funny looking little studs with these funny looking little nuts on them. Oh, there goes that. And then there's these little squeeze clips or spring clips. And one thing that we learned is squeezing them out by hand was basically impossible. And a 5/16 wrench works real nice. A 3/8 works not quite as well, but basically if you put it on it, and just turn it, it would actually squeeze it, and it would just pop right out. Works really, really well when it's in position. A 3/8 works as well, especially in certain situations where all you can do is just push this down on it. But the 5/16 works really, really well just to push. You can push the box end on it, and that pops out, or actually put the open end on it, and as you turn it, you'll see it squeeze it together, and it just pops right out. A particularly tough trouble spot was on the top of the wheel arches. There's two of them that are basically inaccessible, and I'll show you what we did there. So what I mean is these two, right here, there's a big piece of steel underneath there. And what we did was we took the hole saw and drilled some good sized holes, big enough to put the end of that wrench in there. Just kind of guessed based on looking at it where those were. And on the underside in there, we took that hole saw and cut those holes in it, and we were able to just stick that box end of that wrench in there and pop them out. And it just took us a couple seconds once we did that. Reaching up and over that inner fender was impossible. I mean, I couldn't reach them, and I've got pretty long arms. Now the last step that I wanted to get done before going to paint was I wanted to close off this radio antenna hole. I think they're really, really ugly, and with modern systems, I don't care to have it. I'm gonna actually have an amp hooked up with a Bluetooth going directly to the amp, no head unit or anything, so I just run everything off my phone. So with that, we should be taking this thing to paint this weekend. All right, so we're all loaded up, ready to take this stuff into the paint shop. We've got tailgate, swing gate. Right here, all this stuff will be painted silver. You can see there's actually a little bit of rust needs to be fixed right there. And both doors, everything stripped out of them except for the door handles. Those are riveted on. I'm not real sure what to do. I'm gonna let the painter mess with that, see if there's anything he can do about it. So hopefully next time you see these parts, they'll be pretty and shiny.